have been conditioned to be the strong friend, when you have been conditioned to always have a strong mindset, when you have been conditioned to always be strong in every circumstance in your life, a lot of times you are very quick to be judgmental to yourself and others. You're very quick to beat yourself up. And most importantly, you are not gentle with yourself and you don't allow yourself the grace that you deserve. And in this video, we're going to talk about the importance on why you have to learn how to have balance, as well as what you could do to continue to embrace being kinder, being nicer, and loving yourself. With that being said, there's no right or wrong way to heal yourself, so always and only take what resonates. Welcome and welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, Ty Guidance. That's what we're going to talk about. So get your pen and your paper and be prepared to take notes. You have to realize that when you have been accustomed to, let's just say, trauma, trials and tribulations, being poverty, and poverty is not just financially. It could be a mindset. It's a programming. It's a way of living. It's a lifestyle. It's behaviors. It's emotions. When you have just been a lower vibration, when you're not taught and shown how to be gentle, how to be loving, how to pour into yourself, a lot of times you feel angry. A lot of times you feel frustrated. A lot of times you're mad. A lot of times you're confused. A lot of times you start to compare yourself. You have all these insecurities and you don't realize that the only reason why you're not exactly where you need to be and you're not happy with yourself is because you're used to a way of living, you're used to a way of thinking. You have to realize the moment that you no longer want to be associated with this living and this thinking, that you have to start making certain changes. Now, of course, when we come to this reality in our life, which you will because you're watching this video, it may not always be easy or comfortable because you haven't been taught how to be gentle to yourself. You may have grown up in poverty, like I said, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially. You may have struggled. You may have suffered. Like, you may have been conditioned to work. You may not have had the same resources and the tools and the guidance as everybody else. So a lot of time, naturally, you have the insecurities. A lot of time, naturally, you have these limitations and these blockages mentally, psychologically, emotionally, consciously, subconsciously, A lot of times, you feel like you're never going to get out of your current situation or that life can't change because you've been programmed to think a certain type of way. And it's not fair to beat yourself up when you were only taught and shown, rather right or wrong, from your caregivers, from your friends, from your family. And a lot of times too, over here, as we heal ourselves, we can only be responsible for ourselves. So the first thing you have to realize is that even though you were taught and shown certain things, even though your parents birth you into this world, they're not here to give you life. Nobody owes you anything other than yourself, other than if you believe in God, ancestors, and universe at the end of the day, because that's what it says. Take what resonates, leave the rest. I'm not here to force religion or spirituality, but whatever you believe in, it has to make sense to you. You have to act on it. You are here to be responsible for yourself. That's what nobody tells you about healing. That's what nobody tells you about life. That's what nobody tells you about being an adult. As a child, like I said, a lot of times it's not really fair to beat yourself up because your parents, your caregivers, whether they were abusive or healthy, positive, wealthy, or broke, they did what they did. And we can't go back in time. Over here, we're not here to dwell on our past. We're not here to sin our past. We're not here to be angry and frustrated about our past. The things that we are going to do about our past is we're going to process it, we're going to evaluate it, we're going to learn from it, and we're going to move forward. So in order for you to give yourself grace when you've always been strong and you've always been angry or you always felt frustrated, is to accept the fact that, you know what, this is your life. Until you genuinely can learn to accept that this is your life, whether you're happy or not, you're where you want to be or not, you're constantly going to have comparison issues. You're constantly going to feel like, I wish I did this or I wish I did that. You made certain choices based off of who you knew and what you knew at that time. Like I said, whether it was right or wrong. The best thing that you could do right now is be accountable. The best thing that you could do is put your right hand over your heart and say, God, ancestors, universe, or to yourself, look at yourself in the mirror and realize that you did what you did. You have to take it to the chin. That's what we do over here. Take it to the chin. Take it to the chin. Own up to it. Have authority over your life. Learn to be responsible for your actions. Learn to be responsible for your consequences. Why? Because when you own up to your past, when you own up to choices that you probably weren't proud of or you made based off of what you knew and what you didn't know, you don't have to continue to be so hard on yourself. You're only hard on yourself because you made a choice, and now where you are right now, you realize how it affected you. You realize the consequence that come with it. Consequences, karma are real. Consequences and karma is real. Rather you, like I said, your spiritual, biblical, astrology is real. What you put out, you get in return. What you sow is what you reap. You have to learn how to be mindful. We don't have to sit here and continue to always be strong and to continue to be so mad and so angry when we could just realize, you know what? In that moment, yes, I did have to be strong, but right now, I don't have to be so hard on myself. A lot of us have been conditioned to work. And it's just like, eventually with that mindset, you're gonna burn yourself out. That's what the slaves did. That's what ancestors did previously. And we're not here to do that. We are way more fortunate. We are way more privileged, whether people realize it or not, than previous generations. We don't have to do what our ancestors and our parents and the generations did before us. Now, this doesn't mean that we don't have to work at all, but we do have a lot more resources and access and creativity and a little bit more freedom. Now, of course, it takes a lot more time for everyone, like I said, on a worldly level to have that level of awareness. But as somebody who's extremely privileged and extremely fortunate, this is why I make these videos. You have to know when to rest. You have to know when to work. You're not lazy because you went through a significant amount of trauma and you're deciding to heal yourself. You're not lazy because you decide to break generational curses that nobody else in your family wants to acknowledge or do. You're not lazy when you don't have the same 24 hours as everybody else. You're not lazy because you don't have the same resources. You don't have the same education. You didn't have the help. You didn't have the family. You didn't have friends. You didn't have the people to pour into you. That's what nobody wants to talk about. When you have to pour into yourself, when you have to love yourself, when you go through things and still have to move forward, a lot of people don't have it in them. So the first thing or the second thing you have to realize once you accept what you went through, where you are, is to stop comparing yourself. Stop listening to people who don't relate to you. Just because you understand somebody doesn't mean that these people can relate to you. Every single naysayer, every single negative person who said something to me is not only not in my life and is continued to be removed out of my life, but it's somebody I never allowed to make me feel some type of way because they couldn't even walk a second. People say a mile, you couldn't walk a second in the things that I went through. And that's the same thing with you. I will never allow somebody who has never felt the things that I felt make me less of a person because you're not better. Nobody on this earth is, if we're being honest. They're not better than you. Nobody is better than you. Because if you were better than you, people who are actually better, they help people. They give them the resources. You educate people. You motivate people. You don't talk down. You're equal. When you go out your way to make it seem like you're better than the next person and you look down on them or you talk down on them, you're not up. Remember that. You're not lazy. I'm not lazy. So you have to realize you don't need to be out here comparing yourself to how people want to. F those people, respectfully. If they don't want to finance you, they don't want to feed you, they don't want to pour into you, they don't want to get to know you, you got some nerve to call somebody lazy, you got the nerve to talk about how somebody doesn't have this, they don't have that. You don't have to have what everybody else has. And you don't. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing. This is your life. You are going to do whatever you want to do. That's why I always tell you to take what resonates, leave the rest. You don't have to compare yourself to everyone else. If you had everything handed to you, if you have both of your parents in your life, if you never have to struggle, you never have to. That's what you're supposed to do. Your parents are supposed to take care of you financially. A healthy relationship, they're supposed to do that. They're supposed to pour into you. But everybody doesn't come from that. You're not less of a person. Because a lot of times with these people that try to talk badly about you or just say just things that don't make no sense, they don't have any character development. They don't have any character. They have to have people to do things for them because they can't do nothing for themselves. Thinking for yourself your entire life, that's a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people do what they're told. They never question it. They never challenge it. They never figure out who they are. They're somebody else, or they live through somebody else. So we're not here to judge nobody. So just keep that in mind. You went through certain things the average person has never experienced and will never. Because once again, we don't want to wish that on anybody. And to make it clear, to go take it a step further, because I seen something on Twitter by an influencer and I didn't like it. Nobody is jealous of you because, like I said, you had help. You had resources. That's what you're supposed to do. Real wealthy people, and I'm very wealthy, you guys. Financially, emotionally, spiritually, figuratively, monetarily. You're supposed to, like I said, if you have resources, if you have privileges, you're supposed to use them. But you're not better because it's actually common. It's more common than you think. Do not allow people who don't know you to make you feel bad. Don't allow your family members, don't allow your friends, because those are not your family members. Those are not your friends. Just because you're related to people and they talk badly about you, you're not my family. We're not kinfolk. You just happen to be here in physical reality, in the physical realm. For those of you who know, you know. Like I said, breaking generational curses because everybody else in the family wants to be messy and deal with their trauma and not do nothing about it. Y'all not cut from the same cloth. So it's just like when you have to be strong your entire life, when you have to think for yourself all day, every day, you need to know when to give yourself grace. You need to realize, you know what? You have to process information. It's not even taking you longer. This is just your life. You're not meant to live the same life. And I'm going to be honest with you. Where you're going in life, these same people, places, and things, they are not going to be there. When you get to your final destination, they are not going to be in the picture. You're going to lose people as you move forward. I'm telling you from experience. Because that's life. And vice versa. The people that you meet, you may see them today, you're going to be gone tomorrow. You need to know when to rest. You need to know when to think. You need to know when to do work. I don't believe in working hard. I don't believe in overthinking and thinking all the time. And I don't believe in stressing myself out and comparing myself to people, like I said, who had certain resources and had certain tools, or who had certain support that I know I didn't have. And I'm not going to sit here and stress myself out. People who go out their way to make fun of people, like, y'all are ugly. And I'm going to say it. Y'all are ugly. It's ugly. It's ugly. It's inhumane. Like, it's disgusting. It's degrading. And I'm not talking about looks. I'm not even going in for him. I'm not going in for him. I'm not going band for band. I'm not talking about how you look. I'm talking about your energy, your spirit. You're not better. It's so degrading. Like, people want to judge you and talk about you, but it's just like, a lot of times too, the same people who do this, their situations be way worse, but because you actually have to handle your information, because you actually are strong, because you actually have to do it alone, because you actually don't have the same resources and the tools as them, that's why they talk about you. Because a lot of times, strong people who are strong, like I said, we help each other because we know life is real. Like, you're going to go through things in life, and a lot of times you are going to be alone 99.9% of the time. The 1% is if you do have somebody who, you know, is real as well. So it's just like, what you can do moving forward is knowing when to rest and being okay with resting. Like, you physically need to rest. Rest will help you heal. That's why when babies are born, they sleep. That's how they grow. You guys can look up this information. I'm not, like I said, I'm not just saying stuff just to say it. I'm not here to mislead people or misinform people just to make money, because in the end, it's not going to end well. You have a lot of people who just love to give advice. They don't follow for themselves. And they don't realize that, like, if you're going to be an influencer, you're going to be a content creator, if you're going to be in the public eye, what you say and do, it matters. Now, this doesn't mean that everyone's perfect, that people can't grow and change, but it's just like I said, character speaks for itself. You could do certain things and change your ways, but your character is not in alignment with what you say. So you can apologize and it doesn't mean anything because your character doesn't match with it. Versus if you do something like from our past, you make certain choices you're not really proud of, and you change and you continue to walk in the direction you're meant to be in, and it shows. What I need you to do in order for you to continue to be gentle to yourself is to sit with yourself. I want you to acknowledge how you feel. In your season of isolation, when certain people, places, and things get removed, when it starts to get harder, I need you to stop, drop, and roll. I need you to put everything down, and I need you to talk about how you feel. I need you to schedule a service with me, your favorite mental health specialist. I need you to let me know in the comment section. I need you to seek a therapist. I need you to seek a psychiatrist. Or like I said, you need to be praying, go to God, ancestors, universe. You need to become educated and equipped in what it is that you believe in. Because if not, a lot of times people want you to lose your mind. People want you to crash out. We're not going to crash out. I'm not crashing out. As I grow older, I'm not crashing out. I can't afford to be stressed, you guys. I can't afford to be broke. And like I said, broke is not just monetary, materialistically. Broke is in spirits. Broke is energy. And broke could be a mindset. Poverty, a lot of times, all to y'all shade, once again, is a mindset. We're not slaves. We are free. But in order to know that you're free, your mindset, your mental health has to be okay. Your heart posture has to be okay. If you're somebody who leans more into your feelings, your heart has to be strong. If you're somebody who leans more into your mind has to be strong. But being strong doesn't mean that you always have to go so hard all the time. Being strong is knowing when to rest, knowing when to give yourself grace, knowing when to take your time, knowing who to listen to, who not to listen to, instead of just trying to burn yourself out, instead of trying to do everything by yourself, instead of not acknowledging how you feel, instead of trying to dismiss your feelings. Like, you can't dismiss your feelings if you're strong. When you're strong, for real, you know what you're capable of. And it's like, you don't have to prove it. You don't have to prove. And it's crazy because it's just like the same people and the places and things who, you know, try to like do their big one, they're weak. And that's why people have to group up and gang up and do like just immature, childish stuff, foolishness. Because they're weak. No, like I said, nobody who's strong is going to come at you with 10 people versus one. Or have to make up rumors and spread lies and get people to go like, tomato. And if that's you, I'm throwing a tomato at you. Like, get it together. Like, we're not here to judge you, but it's just like, be effing for real. When you are the strong person, like I said, when you have to think all the time, because if you are intuitive and you are really strong and you understand how this life works, or if you claim to be chosen or whatever you want to be, you don't have to think all the time. If you're really, like I said, wealthy and abundant, you don't have to think all the time. It's a time for you to think. There's a time for you to enjoy life, because it's just like when it comes to healing, this is not something that you should have to continue to do over and over and over again. Like, furthering your education and becoming educated is one thing, but it's just like, once you further your education, once you become educated, once you understand what you went through, once you take the time to process it, once you acknowledge how you feel, once you learn from it, once you realize what's in your control, what's not in your control, close the chapter and keep moving forward, because life is gonna life. And it's just like, you're gonna constantly go through things. You're gonna go through things until you can't go through nothing anymore. But to make it a living nightmare, you just gotta realize, you know what? Where you're meant to be, what you're meant to do is bigger than you. I'm telling you from experience. If you were supposed to live, let's just say, a normal or average life or a basic life, your life would be that. You wouldn't go through anything. You wouldn't go through anything. You wouldn't have the same problems. That's why it's really important not to compare yourself, because you have people who have first world problems. You have people that have second world problems. You have people that have third world problems. So a first world problem, depending on society and status, once again, not to like, what's the word? Not to dehumanize you, but this is how society, like the average person, the average programmer. So this is just general knowledge for some people who may not even know about this, because they don't teach this type of stuff in school. They just call people middle class, higher class, lower class. A first world problem could be like you not knowing what you want to eat, versus a third world problem, somebody who doesn't even have money to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of us don't have the same problems. You have some people in this world who can't decide if they want Benihana or if they want Root Chris. Then you have some people who are like, well, I only have $5, so what can I get with $5? Then you have some people who have more than $5, but they still don't have enough to eat what they want. So it's just like, don't compare your life to everybody else's. Don't think that you're lazy because you have to take your time, that you have to figure things out. Especially, like I said, once you realize you don't have family, friends, money, and support as everybody else. Like, what do we look like being stressed out and proving ourselves to people, once again, who you don't even want to be like? And a lot of times, the people who try to like discourage you and do certain things in the beginning of your path, it's only to show you that you're so much more than what you feel and what you're going through. Because if you weren't, those people wouldn't be in the way. People wouldn't try to stop you or block you if you weren't meant to be bigger than the program, which you are. And instead of them worrying about themselves, they have to worry about you. And I'm going to go ahead and end off the video with that. Let me know how this video resonates with you. Let me know what you learned. Let me know what we need to talk about. What do you do to give yourself grace? Let me know if you guys want a part 2. Make sure to follow me on all social media platforms. All the information, once again, is down in the description box below. But yeah, don't let nobody trick you out your position. Don't let anybody make you feel bad about being you, because they could never be you. Not even on your worst day. Your worst day is somebody's best, which means on your best day, my best day is your worst. Like, don't play. Let's not play games, because it's not a fair fight. It's not even a fair fight. It's not even a fair fight. Follow me on all social media platforms. DM me on Instagram if you guys have questions and comments that are like personal or vulnerable. If you're not able to book a service in the session, once again, all the information will be down in the description box below. Follow me on my Instagram and my TikTok as well. Like I said, to stay in contact with me, but to also go live, because that's where I will be going live. And I'm going to be going on live a lot more now that it's like, you know, the summertime. It's a little bit warmer. You know, make sure you guys are doing what you need to do until we reach our goal here on YouTube, which we're going to be reaching at any moment now. But I love you. I appreciate you. This is a judge-free environment. This is for the mature people. So if you're not mature, send it and share this video to somebody who it is. Okay? Love you. Bye.